What's going on, guys? A concept I find really interesting, and this is something I really, really enjoy. This concept of increase your income, accomplishing a goal you haven't accomplished before. And I'm not sure who said it. Might have been like Albert Einstein or Earl. I don't even know who said it. I don't remember. But they talked about to accomplish a goal you haven't accomplished before, you got to become a person you haven't been before. And I find that real interesting because there's a lot of truth to that. Now, I think you don't necessarily have to become a totally different person, but you have to acquire skills you didn't have before. And I think for 2025, that's something we should be aiming to do. And I think that's a fun concept because I think it's a cool concept because I think it's really energizing to add another skill to your repertoire, to become a little bit better than you are before. And just the thought of being a little bit better, the thought, to me, working a little bit harder is always a fun concept because I think, well, if I work a little bit harder, I can make a little bit more money. If I work a little bit harder, I can get a little bit more done. If I work a little bit harder, I can become the person I want to be. And that's, I think, something that you need to embrace especially for the new year, but I think just perpetually going forward. I think that when you got to always think of who do you want to be? How do you want to be? How do you want the world to look at you? And although, it's funny, we'll sidestep a little bit here for a second. The whole concept of, don't worry about what people think about you, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I believe that. And I think it's hogwash at the same time. I think they both intertwine. It's kind of like the thing where I think is it a Chinese proverb or a Japanese proverb? The concept of planning for 150 years at the same time assuming you're gonna die tomorrow or whatever that is, but it's like the long-term thing along with the short-term thing, and like combining those two things even though they're complete opposites. And I think that's but to be better, to become the person you want to be, like, how does the world see you? How do you want to be seen by your friends and family? There was a point where, I don't know about I'm sure my friends, but because when my my girlfriend got pregnant with our first son, I kind of stepped away from everyone because, I had bigger things to do. I had to provide for my new family now, but my family, like my outside family, I'm talking about, parents, siblings, in-laws, cousins, all these people. I find out later they didn't think too highly of me, and just a bit of my seltzer water. I found out later they didn't think very highly of me, and they thought I was just going to be a schmuck. They figured I was, and I was just going to continue being a schmuck. And when I started to realize that as years went on, it bugged me. It always bugged me because I knew what I was doing, and I wanted to show my worth, I guess. And that's not a bad thing. So I think if there's a whole concept of embracing failure, embracing like the negativity, and that I mean by if you're getting negativity from other people, sometimes there's a reason. Now, like the whole thing of like bullying in school. When I was younger and I had problems in school, my mom used to say, "Well, they're jealous of you." Well, I can tell you when I was 13 years old, no one was jealous of me. I was a little scrawny kid. My parents didn't have any money. My clothes were horrible. I had nothing going for me. Okay. No, and I didn't have a whole lot of friends. No one was jealous of me. All right. Well, now being a parent, and my parents meant well. Okay. So I'm not knocking them for that. But as a parent, sometimes I'll say to my kids, guys, sometimes people are just assholes. Okay, that's the truth. Sometimes people are just plain out assholes. That's it. Kids, adults, it doesn't matter. Sometimes there's not a rhyme or reason why someone's being mean to you, being negative to you, picking on you, whatever it might be. But sometimes, when it comes to family, close friends, sometimes people see you differently than you see yourself or know what's going on with you. Like for example, when I was trying to come up when our kids were little, I was building my business and I knew what I was doing. I knew where I was going, but on the outside, no one saw what I was doing on a day to day, and that was frustrating to me. And that propelled me. I wouldn't say that it motivated me because I have my own self motivation. But when you're down, when your back's against the wall, like that kind of stuff can propel you, and that should. So embrace the negativity, but let's wrap it on this. The whole thing of becoming who you want to be, transforming yourself, adding another skill to your repertoire. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be? How do you want the world to see you? And that should be something that's exhilarating. That should be something that's really energizing. Something that's really puts a pep in your step. Because you know when we get on a personal mission, whatever it might be, it could be for a small goal, big goal, health goal, financial goal. That's the kind of stuff that's going to keep pushing you when on the days, because motivation motivation only goes so far. Motivation works first 2 weeks of the new year. But when you're on a mission doing something, well, that's what pushes you through on the days where you're sick, you're tired, you're demotivated, you're everything went wrong that day, that week, that month. That's the thing that keeps pushing you through. So what is it that how do you want the world to see you a year from now?